G'day, mate, and welcome to Friday Facts 316 Map Editor LUA snippets and non-colliding biters. And I've got a Mojo. Hey, mate.
Hello.
We're both late this time because you were at PAX, right?
Yes, that thing that does the things.
Yeah. Australia is actually important enough that we get our own separate PAX. You know, it is a, 12-hour drive? No, it'd be longer than that from me to you.
Yeah.
About like 16-hour drive away for me, so I didn't attend. And I was actually busy at my own Ingress meetup, which, you know, go Google Ingress. It's the game before Pokemon Go and Harry Potter Wizards Unite. And,
A game that apparently came before Pokemon Go, and Pokemon Go was actually a reskin of it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Who knew?
Yeah, it's the better the game of the three, you know, my opinion. And yeah, I was busy doing a meetup. Mojo, of course, was doing a meetup. You met lots of fans, right?
Sure.
Yeah, he avoids everybody. He's really
Yes.
a paid actor. He's not Australian. He's a paid actor. Anyway, so we have the map editor and LUA snippets, and this is sort of interesting because they say in the very first line, in the last few weeks we've really accelerated our work on the campaign. But then again, in the last few weeks they haven't had much to say because people have been away and playing WoW and.
Yeah, they've been accelerating work on their WoW campaign.
Yeah. So, in theory, we're getting a lot of the single-player campaign being done, which I am still eager to see. But occasionally they need to perform custom edits on the map, which are tedious. They can just type it up in Lua, and they don't have it happen often enough that they need to actually write something into the map editor to do the custom Lua, or make that issue easier, I guess. It's just tedious. So what they've actually done is they've added a LUA snippet tool to the map editor. And it just lets you drag over an area and have your custom code applied to that area. And then save that in your player data JSON file, which, correct me if I'm wrong, Mojo, that's a local player file, right?
Yeah, it is.
So that doesn't go with the map, it just stays with you. It's where also your blueprints are kept or attached to or interfaced with somewhere.
It's another file like blueprint storage, but it's not connected to directly.
Yeah. So it's saved locally, so you can refer to them later, which is probably much better than the post-it pad method, which often get lost. In fact, I lost the whole stack of post-it pads last week. Yeah, and then
I think that file also tracks your console history. Everything you type into the console goes in there.
I thought console history was separate per game or per map.
No, it's per user.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. So yeah, it's let them run this little bit of snippet that turns all the trees into biters, and then they can just add it elsewhere by just selecting, which is handy. And we all knew that the trees were the real enemies. They're really biters in disguise.
Yeah, the truth is out there now.
Yeah. They do say there currently doesn't seem to be a very, very big scene of the community-made custom map scenarios with custom maps. We're hoping the example from the campaign once released, as well as a much improved editor we have in 17, will encourage more people to give it a go. And I don't know, I guess this is a hard one. I always love custom maps and custom campaigns for every other game I've played, but a lot of those games allow you to import or feature some sort of like cutscene or something between one section and the next, and I don't know of Factorio having any way of doing that. Like with the camera controls, you could maybe make some sort of in-game cutscene.
You can, but you have to hand code the whole thing.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
It's actually funny. This actually sounds like something that I complained about like ages ago, probably over a year and a half ago now, and it was laughed off. Silly.
What?
Having tools to automate writing code, like having code editors within the editor, like LUA editors.
That sounds like a great idea for me. Like the more buttons it has and the less code it has, generally the more it opens it up to players to at least start to experiment.
tools to actually help you like write scenario code and edit scenario code, so you can do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Almost sounds like a good idea, doesn't it?
Yeah, look, even if it's got basic functionality, at least I think the biggest thing when it comes to map editors is getting people started. And after people get started, if they get hooked and they become good at it, then they'll actually read into how the code works and like maybe use the tools to get halfway there and then go in and actually edit the code to make it better and do what they want. But, you know, if you can't get people involved to start with because the learning curve's too sharp, then people just don't bother.
Yep. And that's the state of it now, is that like you really have to use like Notepad++ or something to write the code by hand.
Yeah, the map editor is a lot better. I've played with the map editor in 17 compared to 16. Massive difference. But trying to get some sort of like even just basic scenario code. It is all written by hand or stolen from other bits of scenario code that I know does what I want.
A lot of that.
Copy paste. Yeah. Copy paste and work out the bugs afterwards. So, speaking of bugs, they have Apple signing woes. So, Apple in their new system, their new system inside the Mac OS, they're basically bringing like a signing, which like lots of companies have done this for a while. Microsoft's been doing this with drivers.
Microsoft's been doing this since Windows XP in some form or another.
Well, they've been doing it with drivers since XP. Did they do it with apps as well?
To a lesser extent, I think. At least at actually no, maybe not. Maybe
No,
I think it was actually Vista or 7.
Only if so. Drivers since Vista. Vista's when they introduced driver signing.
XP had driver signing. It just gave you a warning.
A warning that you could ignore easily. In Vista,
yes.
it was like no, this has to be signed. Otherwise, you need to go become an expert in how to install unsigned drivers. As for applications wise, I don't think like they list publishers. If it needs to change background parts of Windows, you've got to give it elevated permissions, and it'll give you warnings about that sort of stuff. But I don't think they actually sign any applications.
I was confusing it with the permissions thing, but they didn't actually sign it. Windows 7 did introduce that, and had some rudimentary level of that, so that if you had a malicious version, it would at least give you a warning. Like if someone had swapped out a program executable with a different one, it would actually warn. I remember that.
So obviously Mojo wanders around the nasty parts of the internet. No, I don't. I'm a good boy. Anyway, so as of the new Mac version, this will be mandatory. So they'll have to sign everything. And Woob was lucky enough that Valve shot him across some info. And up until then, their macOS binaries hadn't been signed at all. So they thought it'd be a good time to get on top of that. After much hassle and sending off to Apple's server and getting the process done, eventually they went and installed it, and it ran with no security prompt whatsoever. So it sounds like it all worked. And then they did a quick sanity check and copied over the previous version of Factorio that had no signing, no nothing, no whatsoever, and it also worked perfectly fine as well. So they have no idea whether it works or not.
Says the Apple doesn't have any way of validating their signing.
Yeah.
Their local machine self-signing.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know whether they're actually running it on a true Mac or whether it's some sort of Hackintosh. But the other thing is, they haven't had a Mac developer for, I want to say, 6 months.
Like a billion years now.
6 months, 9 months. Their Mac dev left. And consequently, they don't have any specialized Mac dev. So, if you're developing for Mac or have experience developing for Mac, Woob would really like to speak to you. Please click on the job listings post and go fill out an application. And you never know, maybe you can work on biters in the next version. Speaking of biters, we have non-colliding biters by Clonid. So,
the classic scene of biters as illustrated by the animation bubble.
Oh, well, I love the phrase they put in. So, They've been trying to work on biter pathing with many iterative changes and tweaks. However, they had a big problem in the moment where a group of biters encounters the player base and they show us this scene. And they call it a mating dance. And I had no name for it, but mating dance seems perfect.
Yeah, it's reasonable.
What happens at a fundamental, I guess, Factorio level is a group of biters are set up, and because they're a group, they all path together.
Yeah, when they're moving in formation, when they're moving as a squad to attack, they're moving together and they're not trying to avoid each other.
No, they're moving like, this biter's behind that biter, that phalanx of biters, 200 biters you've got walking across the screen. We've all seen it. It all works perfectly. The catch is when they get in range, they split up into not a group of 200 biters, but every single individual miner and every single individual biter has to have its own pathfinding to come attack you. And that's why we do the funny dance that they've been doing
mating
forever.
Dance.
Yeah, the mating dance.
The point where they all stop and then start spinning in circles, that's when they switch pathfinding.
Yeah, and it's led to the classic example of biters are just crap because they come in single file. And
that's generally what the outcome is, that they just single file in.
Yeah, and we can see like Full Gun Turrets is dealing with all of that without any issue. And I'm just going to assume it's your basic Factorio install, it's basic red ammo, it's basic infinite research. So you've got all the base researches done, because that's how everybody sort of runs their tests. And yeah, they're just obliterating everything. So they changed the way biters work. And they might consider it a hack. I don't, because I've actually been running this type of mod for a long time. And basically it's removed the collision box for biters with other biters, as far as I understand. I haven't actually tested this yet. But
they haven't removed the collision box as such. It's just that they disabled biters colliding with other biters.
Yeah, so biters and other biters have a collision box of basically 0, which means they can stack on top of one another. And if you watch the spitters at the end, there's quite a few of them stacking very, very, very close.
Tightly.
Yeah. Which is very, very dangerous. We actually run the Muppet wrote a mod for us, like, I don't know, 12 months ago, which was called Extra Biter Control. And one of the options in that mod, which is probably where we might have got the idea, was to change the biter collision box smaller than normal. I think it defaults to... I think the mod defaults it to 60% of normal size, and I've set it all the way down to 0. And at 0, biters become very, very, very dangerous, because you might think you're fighting one spitter, but there might be 30 in that one tile.
Doesn't that mean that they don't interact with trees as well, and rocks, and cliffs?
It means, no, they can't walk through cliffs, they can't walk through walls. It basically means their collision box is a single pixel. So they basically stack almost one on top of one another, but it does mean that they quite happily walk through a forest without a care in the world. They'll walk around rocks. You still get the occasional biter stuck on a rock who decides the rock is the worst target in the world and must be killed, which I completely agree with 99% of the time.
It's understandable.
Yeah, it's completely understandable. Same when the trees get in the way. Like, kill them. It's fine. But yeah, this is going to make biters a little bit more interesting in, what's this, 1770?
Yeah.
We're getting high in those numbers. Yeah, you want to bump up your defenses. I
reckon just updating alone is going to really stress some bases' defense.
Yeah.
As soon as you switch over.
One row of lasers might not be enough. You might want to double your walls before you click the update button.
Get your damn damage upgrades done.
Yeah, you've been warned. They're gonna get nasty, and yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So yeah, they've changed the separation logic, so they just basically stack on top of one another. They do have separate code in there that should stop biters from infinitely stacking one on top of one another. But we're going to run it through the experimental branch and test it. So, welcome guinea pigs. Good luck.
It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Yeah, nothing will go wrong. Like I said, I've been running this in community maps for quite some time, and it's a very different type of biter. I'll put it that way. And spitters are very, very, very dangerous. So then we got a couple of things about a couple of devs. So we got Twinson. Twinson is going to Poznan Game Arena in Poland. And I think he's written his itinerary backward because it's like 18th to 20th, then 17th to 20th, then 16th to the 18th.
Yeah, it's backwards.
Yeah. So he's going to be in Poland for the next 3 events. And if you see a guy with a Factorio hoodie, it's probably Twinson. It might be some random stranger, but go up and say hi, Twinson, anyway. If you're lucky, you get the right person. So yeah, he's going to go out there, meeting devs, meeting any fans. That's pretty much it. Go say hi.
That reminds me. Apparently there was a PAX. At PAX, there was apparently a Factorio tournament.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I heard something about it.
Oh, let me guess. After PAX was over, after you got home.
It was on yesterday, and that was the day when I didn't plan on going.
Oh, okay, because that would have been interesting. I wonder what sort of tournament they ran.
Probably just free play.
First to a rocket.
Probably.
Steelax, speedrun.
Steelax.
Okay, and then we've got the London Dare entry, which is Wearbags and what's this one? Avocado?
Yeah,
Avocado. Yeah. So over the weekend, these two entered the London Dare.
Ludum Dare.
There we go. Ludum Dare Game Jam. And basically, Game Jam is trying to code a game start to end in as short a time possible. In this case, they had 48 hours, and they made a gear puzzle game, which I actually went and read quite a few of the comments left, and it looks a little bit janky because it was coded in 48 hours, but also pretty hard. So yeah, I do want to go look at this. What they did say is, over on the Game Jam website, getting to day 2 and realizing we don't really understand how gears work in real life. This is why there are 3 gears on top of the assembly machine 3, and they all interlock. It's because the Factorio devs don't understand how gears work. Do you remember this, Mojo?
Yeah, admittedly, most people don't understand how gears work. It's actually pretty complicated.
Yeah, they're not simple. So yeah,
a lot of maths involved, and geometry.
Maths, geometry. I'm looking at their gear shape, and their gear shape is wrong. These would all bind up instantly, which I guess comes down to vector maths.
That and also time, because this is Ludum Dare, where I think it was.
Yeah, it's rushed.
I was going to say 24, but it's actually 40.
Yeah, it's a 48-hour code. So, but yeah, they had scheduling conflicts. They had all sorts of problems. I've seen a lot of games that come out of these Game Jam things, and some of them are really, really good. Some of them are really, really horrible. Some of them actually go on to become actual games you find on Steam. I want to say Raft, which was like a
Yeah, I was going to say, I believe Raft was one of the latest ones.
Yeah, Raft, I have a feeling started off as a Game Jam, then went to an itch.io like game after another 12 months worth of development, and then finally went to a full Steam release game, like completely rebuilt from the ground up, all coming from a Game Jam. So go have a look. Maybe you'll find some other gems. Maybe they'll branch off, create their own development team and publisher team and give you grinding gears. Or gear grinder. Whatever they want to call it. Yeah, maybe.
Geary grindy.
Geary grindy. Oh. Yeah. Maybe the name needs work. But yeah, that's probably it for... and this is officially the first ever Sunday Factorio Facts.
Yeah, we're a little late to the party.
We're really, really late. But yeah, we both had things on. It didn't come out Friday early. It didn't come out till like 3 a.m. our time, which is about average, roughly, for the Friday Facts.
Back to normal schedule.
And then we're both out all of Saturday. So, yeah, welcome to the first ever Sunday Factorio Facts. Which means no this week, I guess.
One can only dream.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's it. We're out. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next week. Hopefully on a Friday, Saturday, one of the two.
One or the other.
Yeah.
Hopefully not both.
Well, I don't know.
It'd be a Tuesday.
I don't know. Oh, well,
when an addendum is released and you don't notice.
Yeah. Maybe we'll fit another. Was it Tuesday or Thursday? One of the two. Anyway, that's it. We're out. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.
Bye-bye.